Praise be Jesus Christ. The Lord Jesus has put a fire in my heart for the salvation of souls. I believe that the Lord Jesus founded the Catholic Church, his church, for the salvation of the world. That's why I just find it devastating to read things. This is Bishop Barron's letter to a suffering church. He says, 37% of Catholics are seriously considering leaving the church. Let me teach you something technical. If we lose 10%, that's technically decimated. If 10% of Catholics decide, you know what, I don't know if I want to do the Catholicism thing anymore, the church has become decimated. This is heartbreaking. Bishop Barron says, I believe that another essential move, if the church is serious about preventing McCarrick-like situations going forward, is to launch a formal investigation, both on this side of the Atlantic and in Rome, to determine how someone like Theodore McCarrick, whose serious misbehavior was well known, could possibly have risen so high in the government of the church. I don't like talking about these things. Some people say, Father Mark, don't get into church issues, just preach the gospel. The thing is that it's the truth that sets us free. Bishop Barron, at the beginning of his letter, he says this whole scandal has corroded Catholic credibility. It's hard to lead people to the fullness of the Catholic faith when you have things like this that still aren't answered. Bishop Barron says, just as bishop after bishop around the country quietly reshuffled abusive clergy from parish to parish, so it seems numerous bishops and archbishops and cardinals, both in this country and in the Vatican, knew all about McCarrick's outrageous behavior and did nothing in response to it. Or rather, worse, they continued to advance him up the ecclesiastical ladder, from auxiliary bishop to bishop of a diocese to archbishop and finally to cardinal. Even after he resigned from his post in Washington, McCarrick continued to be a roving ambassador for the church and a kingmaker in the American hierarchy. The average Catholic in America could certainly be forgiven for thinking that something like a conspiracy of silence and deep corruption obtained within the institutional life of the church. Now listen, I'm not mad at McCarrick. I'm not mad at any particular individual. All I'm saying, and I don't like to have to say this, sometimes the Lord asks us to say things we don't want to say. It's a lot easier just to stand back and say nothing. But people who stand back and say nothing when they should say something don't go to heaven. We have to bring closure to this episode in the history of the church. We need this investigation because the truth will set us free. Viva Cristo!